Hi everyone, today we're going to be taking a look at the 2020 governor's race. So, right now there's 11 states that will have governor's elections in 2020, and right now the Democrats have 20 seats that are not up for re-election. Republicans have 19. Republicans are defending most of these seats, but we're going to go through four races in particular which could be competitive. But firstly, we're just going to go through the safe states. So Washington, obviously Jay Inslee is running for re-election. He's going to easily clean up there. And also in Delaware, John Carney is running in the state of Delaware. Okay, for the Republicans, Utah, the Republicans are going to win Utah. North Dakota, there's the Republican incumbent governor there. In Missouri, again, another GOP incumbent in Mike Parson, Doug Burgum. In the state of Indiana, we expect the GOP to carry that one. In West Virginia, there's a Republican governor there, incumbent as well. So, right now 24 races for the Republicans, 22 for the Democrats. So North Carolina, people would say, you could expect that to be a swing state, but and the same thing with New Hampshire, it could go either way. But two states here, Vermont, we would normally expect that to be safe for the Democrats, and Montana, normally that would be safe for the Republicans, could be more contested. So, Montana, North Carolina, Vermont, and New Hampshire. Let's start off with the state of Montana. So, in terms of who's running, we've got Mike Cooney, the current lieutenant governor of Montana and former Secretary of State. He seems like the favorite. Running mate is Casey Schreiner, minority leader of the Montana House of Representatives. So that's kind of basically like you could expect Joe Biden and Nancy Pelosi running for president together. So it seems pretty good. Whitney Williams, businesswoman and daughter of former U.S. Representative Pat Williams. Running mate is Buzz Matlin, farmer and president of the National Barley Growers Association. Again, not likely. Mike Cooney, being the lieutenant governor, is the favorite. Casey Schreiner, the minority leader for Montana House of Representatives, has withdrawn because he's now the running mate for Mike Cooney. In terms of who's declined, we've got, a lot of familiar names here. Wilmot Collins, running for 2020 candidate for U.S. Senate. There's a lot of other people like Brian Schweitzer, former governor of Montana, who's endorsed Williams, and Kathleen Williams, who's running for Montana's at-large congressional district, so running for the U.S. House. So again, statewide politician Steve Bullock, who is obviously his boss, now has endorsed Cooney. John Tester, the other senator for Montana, has also endorsed Cooney, and Max Baucus has also endorsed Cooney. And then you've got a few people who's endorsed Whitney Williams. In terms of the polling here, again, Mike Cooney, the favorite to go on and win that Democratic primary. In terms of the Republicans, you've got, again, some familiar names. You've got Tim Fox, Attorney General of Montana, running with John Knockley. You've got Greg Gianforte, who incumbent U.S. Representative for Montana's at-large district, and nominee for governor of Montana in 2016. And then you've got a few other minor candidates there. Matt Rosendale ran for the Senate in 2018, now is running for the U.S. House. It's a bit like musical chairs for the Republicans in Montana. There's a lot of switching around between governors and senators and House members. They seem to be always switching around, like Greg Gianforte, who's representative for Montana's at-large district now, and nominee for governor of Montana in 2016, is running, but there's a lot of switching around here. Greg Gianforte, the favorite. So it looks like it's going to be Greg Gianforte versus Mike Cooney. So this is going to be very interesting. Montana has a history of electing Democratic governors while also also heavily voting for Republicans for president, but statewide and congressional district wide, they often do vote for Democrats. And given that the current Democrat who's running is the lieutenant governor, a bit like Joe Biden, who is the vice president, I'm actually going to give this one to the Democrats, especially considering that Greg Gianforte did already lose, and that was in an election year where Trump was on the ballot. So I think that it's going to be a repeat performance. I think the Democrats are going to actually take Montana given their history of doing well in the state. Moving through, let's go next to the state of Vermont. Okay, so we have, in terms of who's running, Phil Scott is going to be the Republican nominee in all likelihood. Governor of Vermont has not publicly announced his campaign for re-election, but is fundraising for it. For the Democrats, you've got, Vermont Education Secretary. You've got a lot of people, but right now it seems like the favorite is David Zuckerman, who is, if we take a look at his endorsements, he's got quite a few people going for him. David Zuckerman, Lieutenant Governor of Vermont, member of the Vermont Senate, member of the Vermont House of Representatives, farmer and businessman. You've also got a bunch of other people. Christine Holquist could, throw a name in the ring. Moving through, you've got most people saying this one's going to go to the Republicans, and I got to give the edge to the incumbent here, Phil Scott. He's managed to win before. I think he'll win again. So that's Vermont. So in order for Democrats to stop Republicans from getting a majority, they need to win both New Hampshire and North Carolina. And in terms of North Carolina, I think they've got a very good shot at actually winning. So if we go down to the primary, you've got Roy Cooper, who's going to be the nominee there for the primary, and then you've also got Dan Forest, the Lieutenant Governor of North Carolina. And then, so right now, if you take a look, there's actually been quite a lot of public polling done, and if you take a look at it, a lot of them show the Democrat there leading 49, 41, 46, 36, 46, 33, 48, 36, 45, 41, 47, 37, 52, 38, 40, 44. That one's the only one with the Republican leading, and then 47, 35. So I gotta give the edge here to the Democrats. There's a lot of Democrats here that would be good to go up against Dan Forest. But at the end of the day, I will give the edge to the Democrats. There's an incumbent governor, popular. He's leading in the polls. You've got to give the edge over to the Democrats. So in order for Democrats to have it tied up, they need to win New Hampshire. So New Hampshire, we've got Chris Sununu, who is the incumbent governor, running again. He will easily win the GOP primary. You've got, again, some familiar names, Molly Kelly. You've got Dan Phelps, Majority Leader of the New Hampshire Senate, and it looks like he's the favorite to go on and win, given how Dan Phelps, Majority Leader of the New Hampshire Senate, so that's a bit like Chuck Schumer running for president, and this would be a bit like, a member of the cabinet, so, Julian Castro running for president or someone. You would have to give the edge over to Dan Phelps. And then there's a bunch of other people, Mayor of Manchester, former Mayor of Portsmouth, and there's a few other people. In terms of, there's one poll that was done by Emerson, so that's a pretty reputable poll. Chris Sununu, 53-37 on Dan Phelps. So you got to give the edge over to the Republicans in order to keep New Hampshire. So that's it for today's video, guys. Thank you for watching. Republicans retain control of the National Governors Association 26-24. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. Good night.